Hi y'all, this is Larry at Deep South, Texas. It's March the 5th and it's time for a new garden update. Let's take a look at what's going on. The onions I planted from seed in October are really doing good. In fact, they are just beginning to bulb up. So, looking forward to that. The onion plants that I planted in January are also doing great, though they're not nearly as far along as the ones I planted from seed. The Yukon Gold potatoes have really been growing well. We've had a little bit of wind, so they kind of gotten knocked over a little bit, but they're looking great. I'll put a link up at the top to my Yukon Gold video from last year where we went through planting to harvest. I've been working on getting this bed weeded and ready to plant corn. I'm not quite done yet. But it's time to plant corn down here at Deep South, Texas. It's I'm in zone 9B, and it's spring. Winter is over. No more freeze warnings coming up. Time to get that corn in the ground. The sugar snap peas have been producing really well all through the month of February. We're picking peas every morning. So I have several meals worth in the freezer and a lot more in the refrigerator. Like I say, we picked them every day. Really, really impressed with the yield and how well they're doing. So I have a couple romaine type lettuces in this container. They're still doing great. But lo and behold, we've got a volunteer eggplant in this container as well. So when I take the lettuce out, which would probably be in the next before the next update, we'll just let that eggplant continue to grow in here. I need to harvest some carrots as well. I pulled up a few last week, and they're nice carrots. They're not as long as the carrots I had last year. But let's pull up a few and take a look. Let's pull up a few carrot plants to see how they're doing. They're kind of tangled up in here. There's one, kind of short. See if we can find a little bit bigger one. There's a big fat one though. It's got a split in it. I never had that happen before to my carrots. Maybe I've left them in too long. There's another one. Let's see what else we can find here. Now there's a nice one. There's a nice one. Well, let's go take a look at the ones that my wife transplanted. So we thinned these carrots out several times, and the first time we thinned them out, she transplanted some of the carrots into another bed. Let's go see how they turned out. I also want to pull up a few of the carrots my wife transplanted into this bed to see how they turned out. We've pulled a few out of this bed as well before, but we'll show you if transplanting carrots is worth the effort. So here we are at the transplanted carrots. They actually look, the tops look good. Let's pull up a couple. Oh, that looks like a winner. It's got a little split in it as well. Let's try the next one. Not forked though. I was expecting to find them forked. Another one. That looks pretty good too. That one's got a little bit of a fork on it. Not too bad. And that one. All in all, I'd say no problem transplanting the carrots, at least when they're young. They turned out probably a little bit better than mine, but don't tell her. The turnips are growing great. In fact, I need to harvest some, but they're looking good. Well, let's pull a few turnips. They're pretty nice size. That one's a little bit small. So I think we're ready to start eating on these, and I think that they're going to be pretty good. Now, the bed where the carrots are over there that we just looked at, and the bed with the turnips, we'll be harvesting all of these and planting tomatoes in here next week. So looks like a great size to eat. They'll be very sweet. So I've just hosed off the carrots and the turnips, and these are the transplanted carrots. They're a nice size, but maybe a little bit misshapen due to the transplanting. These are the carrots planted from seed. Not too long, but you know, good sized carrots. They probably suffered a little bit because they didn't get thinned enough this year. And the turnips, again, we'll be harvesting the turnips this week to make room for tomatoes, but they look pretty tasty. Next to the carrots, we have bush beans, and they're doing real well. So we'll be harvesting bush beans, I'm pretty sure, before the next garden update. And we have a few pole beans planted on this trellis. These are Blue Lake pole beans, and they've just come up. We actually planted these twice, but they're looking good now. Most of the garlic is doing real well, but it looks like I had a rabbit up in here sleeping in it and created a nest and trampled down some of the garlic. I did dig up one of the garlics last week to see how it was doing, if they were forming bulbs yet. They're not forming bulbs yet, but let's take a look at that. So the garlic I dug hasn't bulbed up yet, but after bringing it inside and cutting it open, you can definitely see cloves developing. So it's not yet time to harvest my garlic. The carrots aren't too long this year, but They have a nice diameter on them. I don't really think they're going to get any longer though. We'll harvest these as we need them. And the leeks, they're growing. They're doing fine. Should be another good year for leeks. The tomato plant we purchased from the store, Better Boy I think, and planted in January is doing great. I kind of wish I had planted all my tomatoes in January, but we have tomatoes on the vine, lots of flowers. Other tomatoes that we planted in February are doing great as well. My tomatoes that I planted from seed weren't quite ready, but they're ready now, and we'll be planting those this week. So the tomato plants that I started from seed back in January have finally grown enough that we can think about putting them in the ground. Like I said, we'll be planting these next week. And I have a few celery plants, and we'll be planting those too, probably in containers for the celery. It's almost getting too warm now for my cabbages. We have a few cabbages that have real nice heads on them, nice firm heads, but most of them are pretty loose. So I think the chickens will end up getting a lot of these. And we have some jalapenos in a couple of our containers here. They're surrounded by onions, but they look like they're doing well. I've got high hopes for peppers this year. Last year wasn't too good. The bok choy that accidentally got planted in with the cabbages, we let it go to seed, and we have lots of seed pods now that are ready. In fact, I've seen a couple that have split and dropped seeds, so it's time to harvest these seeds. I'll probably throw them, clip them off and throw them in a paper bag and let them dry out a little bit more. But looks like a pretty bountiful harvest of seeds. We'll see how they do next year. The cilantro has bolted and is going to seed. We'll just let that grow and try to collect some seeds. And the parsley is bolted a little bit and put up a few stems. I don't know if we'll get any seeds off of that, but we'll try. No growth yet on the turmeric and the ginger, but the moringa is looking really good. And let's not forget the chives. They look like they're doing pretty well this year. 3 years ago I had a great stand of chives, but I moved them about 3 times in the same year, and they've been struggling to come back, but it looks like now they are. Real happy with that. March is a great time of year for the garden down here in deep South Texas. I hope you're having good luck with your garden, or will have good luck with your garden this year. This is the update for March. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.